National Federation of the Blind. Live the life you want.
Welcome and good evening to everyone. I hope everyone is doing well this evening, and thank you for taking your time out to join with us. My name is Scott White. I'm the Director of Sponsored Technology Programs for the National Federation of the Blind, with my primary responsibility being the day-to-day run of NFB Newsline. I want to go over a few housekeeping things here first tonight. We will be recording this presentation, so I want to make sure that you knew that. Now, everyone is muted right at the moment, and what we do is we will go ahead and if you have a question, you can either go ahead and type that in the chat, or you can go ahead and raise your hand. And then when we get to the question period, I'll stop periodically through this evening and see if there are any questions. And of course, we entertain questions at the end. Now, if you are using the app, if you go down under the More at the bottom of the screen, then the option will be under that. After you tap on the More, then there will be an option to raise your hand. If you're using the phone, you want to go ahead and do a *9, and that will raise your hand. Finally, if you're using the computer, you want to do an Alt-Y, and that will raise your hand as well. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so with me tonight, I have Jen White, and also have Jessica Beecham to be assisting me tonight. You want to go ahead and say something, Jen?
Oh, I was just saying hello.
That was Jessica. Okay, NFB Newsline, what is it? What I want to do is spend a little bit of time and go over that. We may have people on the call that have joined that maybe they got the email, they weren't or not already a subscriber, and they want to join to find out more about what is NFB Newsline. So I always like to do this in my presentations to start off with. I described NFB Newsline as an audio information source. We have over 500 publications. And what we do is we break those publications down into categories. And some of those categories will start off, one big one we have is the Associated Press. Now, the Associated Press is a wire feed that you get for the radio and TV stations, and we have a national feed for that, and we also have a state feed. So every state in the country has an Associated Press, and then we have a national feed that has national type articles in it. In every state, we have at least 2 newspapers. Many of the states have more, but at least every state has 2 of them. We have another category called Breaking News Online. We currently have 34 publications in that. And within that section now, we'll be talking more about this a little bit later and how you can access this on the Amazon device, but the COVID-19 information that we recently put on NFB Newsline. Now, things you could find in the breaking news would be like from ABC, CBS, CNN, Fox, NPR. Also, you can find things like Apple Insider, Android Central. For sports buffs, we have ESPN Online. If you're interested in the STEM subjects for science, we have Science Daily. From around the world, in the UK, we have BBC and Sky News. That's the breaking news online category. Okay, we have national publications. We have 13 of those. This would be things like a Wall Street Journal, New York Times, USA Today. We have another wire feed from Reuters, UPI. That's in the national publications that we have. We have another category of magazines. Magazines are quite an extensive category. We have 90 publications in that. Actually, it's over 90 now. You can find things like that, and I'm just going to be able to highlight a few here. It's going to be AARP, the magazine. You're also going to have Consumer Reports. Since diabetes is the #1 cause of blindness, we have Diabetes Forecast and also Diabetic Living. Again, for science lovers, we have Discover magazine. We also have Guidepost. That's a really popular magazine that we have. For people that enjoy cooking, we have All Recipes and Every Day with Rachel Ray. We also have other types of magazines like New Yorker and The Economist. For technology lovers, we have PC World and also Mac World. Pop culture, we have Rolling Stone, and then we have another category inside the magazines called Blindness Specific. And you're going to find things like that in the Braille form from ACB, American Council of the Blind. You also find from the National Federation of the Blind, the Braille Monitor. We have that one in there as well. Another publication that we have that you may be familiar with from the American Foundation for the Blind, Access World. We have another category of international publications. We have 14 publications in this category, and this is going to be from different publications from different countries around the world. And we decide on these particular publications because subscribers call into us and say, I would like news from that part of the world. So right now, just to give you an example, we have some from the UK, one from Japan, one from New Zealand. We have a couple from Canada, and that was the international section. Recently, I started something called the Kids Reading Corner, and the Kids Reading Corner has 4 publications in it to start off with now, and we're going to be expanding that this year. So the first one we have is Stone Soup. If you're not familiar with that, that's like a kids' literary magazine where the kids actually write the articles. We have Highlights, National Geographic for Kids, and finally, in that category, we have Girls' Life. Now, what other type of content can you get on NFB Newsline? We have the emergency weather alerts, where you can, if you are watching TV and you hear the beep tones on TV, then you would immediately be able to go to NFB Newsline and get that alert message and understand what it is. Okay, we have also job listings that are on NFB Newsline. We have TV listings. We also have retail ads. And I know everybody loves to save money, so we have ads from Target and Walmart on the system right now from those. So now, all this great information you can access in a variety of different ways. First one we had was touch-tone telephone. So you can get NFB Newsline on your landline if you still have one, or on your cell phone. For those using an iPad or iPhone, we have an iOS app called NFB Newsline Mobile. We also have the information on a secure website, and also we're using the Victor Reader Stream. You can download the information directly to that. Now, who is eligible for NFB Newsline? It's going to be persons that are blind, persons that have low vision, or persons that what we say have print disabilities. That it could be someone, for example, that would have shaking hands and be unable to turn print pages for themselves. If you're not already applied for NFB Newsline, you can apply on our website, nfbnewsline.org, and I'll be giving that again towards the end of the presentation. And you also can give us a call at 866-504-7300. That's our customer service number. Now, what everybody is here for tonight, let's go ahead and get started with the Alexa. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of background on the skill. So it took us a little while to get the skill on NFB Newsline. We had to go through a variety of different phrases and key phrases and check with everything because we tried, of course, NFB Newsline to start with at first, and that just simply would not work. It did not give us enough accuracy. So what you can do on this skill right now, we plan to add some of the other features that I was telling you about, like the emergency weather alerts, etc. But right now, what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to get any of those publications that I first was started talking about. You'll be able to get those on the Alexa skill, Amazon skill. Now, the skill can be set up, and we're going to go through the setup here, but the skill can be set up. It does not, once you have your device set up on your wireless network, then it does. To enable the NFB Newsline skill, you do not have to use the app. So that's one good thing. You still are required to go ahead and put in your identification code and your security code, but you can do that by voice.
And Scott, may I just throw in that it's very easy and intuitive. I actually got Alexa because I was excited about using Newsline on Alexa. So Newsline was one of the first things that I set up on my Echo Dot when I got it. And I found that the setup process was very, very easy and painless, particularly coupled with the instructions that we have available to help with that.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay, so let's go ahead and you would go ahead and enable the skill by saying, Alexa, open National Federation.
Welcome to NFB Newsline. Hello, Scott White. What would you like to read?
Okay, so it's remembered me for some reason. Let me go ahead and reset it so I can actually show you what it looks like when you start out with it from scratch. Alexa, ask National Federation to reset my device.
This device has been reset. If you were logged in, you have been logged out. In order to continue using NFB Newsline, You will need to ask to log in again. Just say Ask National Federation to log in and I'll guide you through the login process.
Okay, now I'm going to issue the same command, and this is what you'll get from the very get-go when you start it. So, Alexa, open National Federation.
Welcome to NFB Newsline. I don't recognize this device. In order to use NFB Newsline, you need to log in as a valid subscriber. To do that, just say, Ask National Federation to log in, and I'll guide you through login steps.
So we want to go ahead and log in. So I'm going to say, Alexa, ask National Federation to log in.
What is your 6-digit identification number?
028272.
What is your 4-digit security code? Welcome to NFB Newsline. Hello, Scott White. What would you like to read?
Okay, so that's how I would log in. So, and now I have to preface every command with Ask National Federation. And I have to do that because I want the command to go directly to our skill. If I leave that out, it's going to think it's just a command going directly to the device, and it will give you an error. Or give you some unpredictable content. Okay, so let's go ahead and start trying to read a publication. Now, when I actually just did the Open National Federation, it asked me, I could go ahead and just say at that time when it says, what would you like to read? Then I can actually say the name of the publication. That's one way you can do it. Alexa, open National Federation.
Welcome to NFB Newsline. Hello, Scott White. What would you like to read?
The New York Times.
Reading in New York Times dated April 9, 2020. In the business/financial desk section of the New York Times, there are 16 articles in this section. Article 1. A lone bright spot emerges in Disney's battered emperor by Brooks Barnes. The Hollywood.
Okay, so to get it to start reading the publication of your choice, it's that easy. When you could just say, ask Alexa, and then you could say, Open National Federation, and just go from that perspective. You also can go ahead and just say, once you've enabled the skill, you can Alexa, stop. Alexa, ask National Federation to read the Chicago Tribune.
Reading in Chicago Tribune dated April 9, 2020. In the arts and entertainment section of the Chicago Tribune, there are 10 articles in this section. Article 1. An all-too-real look at the precarious working class life by Wesley Morris, New York Times. Sorry we missed you, ****1/2.
Now, also, if I wanted another publication, I could simply go,
Life goes on, they say.
Alexa,
So does the
ask National Federation to read the Boston Globe.
Reading in Boston Globe dated April 9, 2020. In the arts section of the Boston Globe, there are 4 articles.
And then it starts reading the Boston Globe or whatever publication that you asked it to read.
Mr. White,
Yes.
there are quite a number of hands. Do you want to take any questions now, or?
Okay, yes, why don't we go ahead and do that?
Nolan Parrish, I'm going to unmute you if you have a question.
Yes, I do. So, Mr. Scott White, this is Nolan Parrish. How are you doing this evening?
Oh, pretty well. How about yourself?
Good, thank you. So, if I was to tell Alexa to open the National Federation for the Blind skill, would I need to set that up through the NFB Newsline app since I don't have the, or since I do not have the if I have the Alexa app on my phone, would I have to do it through there since I don't have an Alexa device?
Okay, so you're using just the features of Alexa just through your app then. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, yes, you can just go to tap on the button where it says talk to Alexa, and then you would just issue the same commands that I'm giving you now.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. White.
And just a point to clarify, so I know some people, what they actually do is there is an app that you can get for a Windows 10 machine as well. So some people just they don't have an actual Echo device. They just have the app that's on their computer, and that's the way that they use it. So you would just go ahead and talk to Alexa and give her the same commands that I'm doing here tonight.
Okay, we have a question from Christian Bertling. Go ahead.
Mr. White, can you hear me?
Yes, I got you.
I was just kind of curious to know if or when a Google Home or Google Assistant version of NFB Newsline is coming.
Results on this device.
Oh, did I set somebody's device off?
Yes, but that's okay. So I didn't unplug the one from downstairs, just mine. But anyway, to answer your question, there are no plans right now to do that, although some people have requested. Now, what you can do with the Google Home today is you're able to make phone calls through the Google Home device. So you can just go ahead and, ask, do a Hey Google, and then call, and then it would be your local telephone number for NFB Newsline, and then log in that way. Now, when you want to give it a command, rather than pushing, obviously you can't push the buttons on the phone. So what you would do is you would just say, Hey Google, press. And like for my code, for my ID code, I would say, Hey Google, press 028272.
And also, how can I access the recording of this webinar? Like whenever it's recorded, how can I go back and replay it?
We'll be sending out a message about how you can do that. You probably will be able to access it on the website, our nfbnewsline.org site, and also you will probably be able to give a command through the Alexa device, and that would read the file as well, play the file for you. Okay, do we have someone else, Jen?
We have quite a number of people. I don't know how many questions you want to take, but we have quite a number of people. I'm going to unmute Dana here. Go ahead, Dana.
Hi. My question is, I don't have Alexa or Echo, so is there any visual with this, or is this just listening?
This is all going to be just an audio presentation.
It's an audio. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Scott, it's Jess.
Thank you.
Yes. I was just going to say, if there's some people who want to type their questions into the chat, I can try to pay attention to that. And then if there's some that are appropriate to bring up at different times, that way, if we can't get to all the hands, that'll give people another opportunity to ask questions.
Yes, I've been checking the chat too. So
perfect.
Yes, let's go ahead and take another 3 or 4, Jen, and then I'll go back to with proceeding on.
Let's see, who's next? Liz Morgan from New Jersey.
Yes, thank you. Hello, Mr. White. I was wondering if there is possibly another voice option with the Echo for the NFB Newsline.
And that is the exact item that's on next on my list. So I'll get
okay, great.
Well, thank you for your question.
Thank you.
There's a phone number starting 386-677. I'm going to unmute you. I don't know who you are. Go ahead.
Hi, Scott. It's Kathy Davis from Florida. I might be getting a little bit ahead of you, but one immediate question I wanted to ask you is, how did you silence Alexa between what you had to say and what to us, and when you resumed what you wanted to say to her?
Well, I cheated. Actually, what I did was I'm running all the devices through a mixer console, so I just turned down the volume.
Okay. And then this is the part I think I'm probably getting ahead of you. How do you skip around in the newspapers or the magazines? Is that what you're going to be covering?
Yes, it's
with Alexa
shortly. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. No problem. Thank you.
I have Mitchell Jackson. Go ahead. Mitchell?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I've got you. Mm-hmm.
I was just wondering, so I was kind of late. I came here a little bit late, and I was wondering how you set up, if you went through how to set up the skill at first, because...
Yes, I did, but let me briefly tell you. So what you just need to do is go ahead and say, turn mine down in case it responds. Okay, so you would say, Alexa, open National Federation, and follow the prompts, basically, that it tells you.
All right.
Okay, let's go ahead and take one more, Jen, for right now. You're welcome.
All right, we have Monica. Go ahead. The Zallo?
Okay. I said, I don't think Alexa was used to my Rhode Island accent, so I said it a couple of times and she got what I was looking for. So that was it. Is this going to be available also on digital, that we can download information to reiterate what you've been talking about, Scott?
Yes, the exact recording, once it's edited, will be available on our website. Yes.
Great, thank
And a
you.
message will be sent out via email for that. So if you are a current subscriber to NFB Newsline, then and we have an email address from you will go ahead and get that email that we send out. Okay, so let me go ahead and proceed on here, and maybe I'll answer some of you, the folks' questions that they have, and we'll stop in a few minutes and see what we have there as far as additional questions. Okay, so now I was asked about having different voices, and the answer is sort of yes and no. We have had some problems with the more human quality voices that we were using on the Amazon device. We had, if you're familiar with it, it was from NeoSpeech. It was called Paul and Kate. Right at this moment, they are not available. The one that we're hearing tonight, the one that's like Eloquence, that is familiar if you've used like the default voice for JAWS, that's the one that's available right at the moment. We anticipate that we will be able to go ahead and bring the others back online, but it's a little bit of a harder task than we thought. So there's going to be some additional programming required. So but our intentions are to go ahead and do that. Now, want to cover some of the speed control that you can do with this. Okay, so the device is still reading the Boston Globe, so I'm going to go ahead and get it to speed up now.
Arrakis Therapeutics signed a licensing agreement with Roche on Wednesday worth $190 million in upfront payments to the privately held
Alexa,
startup.
ask National Federation to read a little faster.
I'm really excited about this. Arrakis Chief Executive Michael
Alexa,
Gilman said in an
ask National Federation to read a little faster.
Obviously, we didn't believe it was impossible, or else we wouldn't have done it, but we knew it was going to be hard. When Arrakis was founded in 2015, potential partners.
Okay, so if I just want to jump it up a little in speed, I can do that. I can just actually ask it to go ahead and read faster. Now, if you want to really make a big increment and get it to go really faster, you would say, Alexa, ask the National Federation to read much faster. Alexa, ask National Federation to read much slower.
In the statement, when Walmart said Williams was adored by her Walmart fans.
Okay, so I can go ahead and just say if I want faster or slower. I can say a little faster, a little slower, or I can go and say much faster and much slower. Just keep in mind that everything has to be preceded with that Ask National Federation. Now, reading content, we've seen that how you can just go ahead and ask for publication. And we went from like the New York Times to the Chicago Tribune. Now, let's say if we wanted to go ahead and I'm just reading along, and like on NFB Newsline, if you're using the phone, perhaps you can go ahead and press the 3 button and just move to the next article. So that's what I'm going to do here is go to the next article.
We also give guidance
Alexa,
to associate.
Ask National Federation to read the next article.
In the editorial opinion section of the Boston Globe, there are 6 articles
Alexa,
in
next.
Article 2. Morning Senior Year 2020 as we approach summer and the recession.
And if I want to move forward again.
Further job insecurity.
Alexa, next.
Article 3. No need for Beacon Hill to cancel.
Yeah, if for some reason that I wanted to go backwards because I really wanted to hear that article again or maybe something I missed.
Education Commissioner.
Alexa, previous.
Article 2. Morning Senior Year 2020 as we approach summer and the recession. Graduating seniors face further job.
Now, on NFB Newsline, of course, we have the current day We have yesterday, and then we have the previous Sunday if an edition was published. So I want to see what's available. What we do is we start out with reading the current edition because we feel that most people are going to want, that's what they're going to want, the day actual edition when they're reading. But you can go back to any edition that's available in the system. So I could go ahead and say, Alexa, ask National Federation to list issues.
You can choose from the following issues. Issue 1 is April 9th, 2020. Issue 2 is April 8th, 2020. Issue 3 is April 5th, 2020. What issue should I read?
Issue 3.
Reading in Boston Globe dated April 5th, 2020. In the arts section of the Boston Globe, there are 7.
Now, what we've done when we programmed this, now the phrases that I'm giving you tonight will work, but also we programmed in a bunch of other phrases, and over time we'll be able to accommodate even more because we're able to tell what actually is being said to the device when you send it a command. So let's say if I wanted to send it another command to tell me what issues are there, I could do it this way as well. Alexa, ask National Federation what issues are available.
You can choose from the following issues. Issue 1 is April 9th, 2020. Issue 2 is April 8th, 2020. Issue 3 is April 5th, 2020. What issue should I read?
Alexa, ask National Federation to go to issue 1.
Reading in Boston Globe dated April 9th, 2020. In the arts section of the Boston Globe, there are 4 articles in this section. Article 1.
Alexa, stop. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can take a few more questions, Jen.
So Scott, I've got a few that have come through on text, on chat, of how you get your access codes.
Okay, so if you don't remember your codes, you can go ahead and give us a call, or you could send us an email. So the telephone number, and you can go ahead and write this in the chat as well, but it's 866-504-7300. That's 866-504-7300. You also can go ahead and send me an email. My email address is swhite@nfb.org, swhite@nfb.org.
And another question that came across was, can you just ask Alexa to read a list of commands? And I did paste the instruction sheet that we have on the NFB Newsline website into the chat.
Yes, those commands that are listed there are good ones to get people started. We do actually have a more comprehensive list of commands that we can email you. So if you want to go ahead and send me an email, we can send that out to you tomorrow, or you can just call and ask for it. Right at the moment, we're not able to send out Braille, but we can certainly go ahead and do that email for you.
And another question was, and can Alexa read in her voice?
We did try that, and there's a technical reason that because of Alexa's usually used to saying small blocks of text. Now, I know she does read Kindle books, but the way that, but Amazon is doing that, and of course it's their product, so they can make it do that. But as far as for individual programmers, the articles would be too big for us to use that. So that's why we don't offer that as one of the options.
Okay, is that are you done, Jess?
Yeah, sorry. That's it.
No, it's okay. There's a question from the phone number is 662-562. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Alfred Morgan from Mississippi. I wanted to ask, can you tell Alexa to read a particular category?
Yes.
You want to read sports?
No, not down to that level. Now, what you can do is we're going to go through, and let's say you're looking in your paper, and you can get the sections listed, and then you can say, go to that section. But there's no way really right now to do any type of just based on a category. Like say I want to read just about national news or sports, what have you. You would have to find that section actually in that paper.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is 706-329. Go ahead.
Yes, this is Ken Roberts from Georgia. How are you?
Pretty well. How about yourself?
Doing good, doing good. Just wanted to ask you, I know you said the other voices are not available, but what would the command be if the other voices were available? Like if you didn't want to use all of 8, if they're available, to switch to other times, if you wanted that, what would the command be to switch to the other voices when they come back online?
I'm not going to say the key phrase to start it, but what you would say is, for example, a lady asked National Federation to change voice and then the name of the voice. So you could say change voice Paul, change voice Eloquence, change voice Kate.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll get that fixed soon. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have iPad 2. I'm not sure who that is, but I've unmuted you. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm sorry. I don't know why my name doesn't come up. This is Lisa Andrews from Philadelphia. First of all, thank you for this. Very, very helpful. My question was, I had a few, and some people asked it for me, but for the security code, because I have the mobile app, so I could see that first set of numbers, but the security code, the 4-digit, the voiceover is not reading that. So I guess I'll just have to email you for that. But I did want to know about search options, and just ignore that if you see that in the chat. So like, let's say, for instance, I knew there was an article in the Times about, I don't know, somebody famous. Could I say, once I'm in the Times, could I say, Alexa, ask National Federation, or what would the command be if I am trying to find a particular article?
At this time, we do not, what you're referring to, like we have in the iPhone app and that we have on the telephone, it's called global search.
Okay.
And also there's ways that you can just search that individual publication. On the Amazon Echo device, there is no search mechanism to date.
Okay.
That's in the roadmap to build, but it's not there yet.
Okay, thank you. Sorry if somebody asked that.
Okay, next we have 734-242.
My name is Sebastian from Monroe, Michigan. And I was wondering now, as far as like the questions and stuff like that, like, say if I want to go to, say like Detroit Free Press, say Sunday, would I just say her ask National the Federation for Sunday, April 5th?
What you would do there is, if you're going to ask for the name of the publication of interest, once it starts reading, then you're going to ask it what issues are available. Then it's going to tell you, and then you would tell the appropriate number for, like it's going to say that issue for today's date is going to be issue 1. The one for yesterday is going to be issue 2. And the one for the past Sunday, if there's one published, will be for issue 3.
Got it. How about pausing?
You can go ahead and stop it and then tell it to resume or to continue.
Okay. Thank you.
We have a question in the chat from Michael Hinkson. He's asking, can we ask Alexa for a command list?
There is intent to do that. Right now, I think what we're going to do is put, you could say, I'll go ahead and give a demonstration of it. It's just going to give you basically nothing now. It will play a file, and that's an MP3 file like these. This recording, I'm going to go ahead and put that so you will be able to access this way. So let's see what it will do here. Alexa, ask National Federation to read instructions.
In the future, this selection will contain detailed information on how to get the most out of the NFB Newsline Alexa skill. We'll let you know when this feature is available.
Okay, so that just continued on reading, but that's what you would do to get the recording. And there will be a command. I'll leave the recording up there for a while, and then I will put a set of commands up there. Next question.
It's from 281-886.
Hi, this is Sarah from Houston, Texas. My question is, Is this synced with what you have in your app on your iPhone? In other words, if there are a group of publications that are already pre-selected, if I choose to use Miss A, because I don't want her to come on, then would she pick something that it's not synced to what I have on my Newsline app on the phone? That's my question.
No, there is no coordination between the two. In fact, the Amazon device has a separate set of favorites that we'll be taking a look at.
Okay, great. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Let's take two more.
Okay, the next one is 973218.
Hi, it's Chris from New Jersey. I have two questions. The first one is, how do you access the grocery ads on the lady? And the second one is, if I have it on one device, do I need to put it on the other device?
Okay, so any of the publications that we currently have on NFB Newsline, you can access. So like in New Jersey there, they have the grocery ads, so you should be able to ask for those and get that particular content. Now, as far as I have a number of devices in my house, and I have to set it up on each one. So you would just go to each device that you want it on and just go through the same procedure of asking it to open National Federation. And then you would have to go through the login process on each one of the devices.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next we have iPad Harold Strikeman.
Hi, guys. Thanks for doing such a great job. Most of my questions have been answered, and I'd like to turn it back over to Scott so he can continue. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Harold.
So we'll go ahead and pick up here for now and get back to questions here shortly. Okay, so how do you discover content on the device? So there's several ways that we built in there. So let's say that I'm in a particular state. In this case, I'm going to be Nevada, and I want to know what publications are available in Nevada. So what I would need to ask, Alexa, ask National Federation to list publications in Nevada.
You can choose from the following options. Option 1 is Associated Press Nevada. Option 2 is Las Vegas Review-Journal. Option 3 is Nevada Information Channel. Option 4 is NFB Nevada Announcements. Option 5 is Reno Gazette-Journal. What option should I read?
Option number 5.
Sorry, I'm having trouble accessing your NFB Newsline skill right now.
Well, evidently it doesn't like option number 5. Okay, but you get my idea. That's how you would go ahead, and it would list all the publications, and then you would pick the number of your choice. Now, of course, once you know that it's on there, I could simply go ahead. I don't have to do that. I can just simply go ahead and ask for the publication. Okay, so I can go ahead and ask for magazine groups. So remember earlier tonight, I was talking about the several different magazine groups we have. So we could say, Alexa, ask National Federation to list magazine groups.
You can ask National Federation to list magazines in the following groups: blindness specific, news and commentary, popular culture, health and fitness, general interest, science and technology, home and family, fashion.
Alexa, ask National Federation to list publications in science and technology.
You can choose from the following options. Option 1 is air and space. Option 2 is Discover Online. Option 3 is Information Week. Option 4 is Mac World. Option 5 is MIT Technology Review. Option 6 is PC World. Option 7 is
Alexa,
Popular
stop.
Science.
Okay, so next we're going to be talking about sections and how you can jump from section to section. Let's go ahead and see if we have a few more questions there.
So Scott, I had one on the chat that says, when I ask Alexa to ask National Federation to read favorites, she won't.
We will be getting to the favorites.
Do you have another question, Jess?
Nope, I've got nothing.
Okay. Okay, so I have iPhone. It's just listed as iPhone. I've unmuted you.
Okay. My name is Megan from Virginia, down here in the Tidewater area. And my question is this. Me and my friend both have the Alexa app on our phones as well. I have the devices too. But what he wants to know is, can he ask his Alexa app on his phone to download the NFB skill, or does he have to have a device?
You can go ahead and do two things. Yes, you can just go ahead to the device and just enable the skill, and that would be the open, A-Lady Open National Federation to enable the skill. And you can do that same thing through the app that's on your iPhone or iPad. It's not required to do that, but you can do that. And what you want to do is the button down at the bottom, one of the tabs that says Talk to Alexa, that's what you want to use.
Okay, because I know the app can do most things that the device can do. So, because he doesn't have a device.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you can do it through the app that way. You can talk to it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've got 865-742.
One of my fellow Tennesseans.
Yes, I want to know, how do you access the breaking news section, like with the UPI or APY or whatever, all that kind of stuff?
You could go ahead and, just like I asked a little while ago to list the publications in the magazines, you could go ahead and say it basically list all the publications in breaking news online. And that will give you the publications, and then you can ask for that one. Now, if you have access to the website, nfbnewsline.org, then you can go ahead and that will give you a list of all the publications as well. And then you can just ask for the one directly that you want.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Now I have 979-849.
How is it you get Alexa to read the newspapers in Texas? I'm trying to get it to read the grocery ads out of Houston Chronicle, and it can't find it.
Okay, so you should have to say, A-Lady ask National Federation to read the Houston Chronicle.
I did that, and it's not able to find it.
Okay, so if you've asked it for other publications and it's reading those to you, then what I would do is, that sounds like something we need to work with you individually. So you can give us a call tomorrow, and then someone can work with you on that particular issue. Our number again, everybody, let me give that for everybody. It's 866-504-7300. I'm sorry, did you have another question?
Yes, and when I ask, when I email you in the morning, what should I tell you? Alexa is not reading anything?
Okay, so it's now just a little clarification. Is it reading other publications, or just not reading the Houston Chronicle, or is it just not reading anything?
It's not reading anything. It has me logged in to NFB, but it's not reading any of the papers.
Okay. Okay, so yes, just when you go ahead and send me an email, just write enough text in there what your problem is, and then someone from the team will get back with you.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we have 417-667.
Answered my question now, so you can proceed.
Okay.
And so the same way that you raised hands, you can lower hands. So if your question gets answered and you remember that you have it up, you can use the #9 to raise and the #9 to lower. Or in the more section, the raise hand, or it'll say lower hand. Just for everybody's clarification, we don't have any more on chat right now.
Okay.
And the raise hand and put it back down was *9.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
So the next person is 917-272.
Yes, good evening. My name is Eddie Herrera from New York State. Let me ask you, how about maybe if we want Alexa to read in Spanish? Like, for example, I know that there are in New York a few newspapers in Spanish.
That is one thing that I would assume that it's going to read properly with, well, to be honest with you, I have not tried that to see how it deals with Spanish publications. It should do automatically switch to the Spanish speaking engine. So, but I think just when you ask for that publication, then if it recognizes it in Spanish, it should start reading it with the Spanish engine.
Okay. And for the lady that called previously, maybe to solve the issue of the publications and stuff, she should just unplug her device and let it for 30 seconds and let it and then connect it back. And maybe this would be able to solve the issue for her.
Okay, thank you very much.
And thank you as well.
Okay, let me go ahead and proceed on with sections here. Alexa, ask National Federation to read the New York Times.
Reading in New York Times dated April 9th, 2020. In the business/financial desk section of the New
Alexa,
York Times.
Ask National Federation to go to next section.
In the classified section of the New York Times.
Alexa, ask National Federation to go to next section.
In the editorial desk section of the New York Times. There are 10 articles in this section.
Alexa, ask National Federation to go to next section.
In the foreign desk section of the New York Times.
Now, I did all that going to the next section so we can do to show you that it can go previous as well.
$123
Alexa,
helping.
Ask National Federation to read previous section.
In the editorial desk section of the New York Times.
Okay, and so it moved back to the previous section. Now, if let's say that I'm not familiar with the publication and really don't know what sections are there, what would I do? Okay. Alexa, ask National Federation to list sections.
You can choose from the following sections. Section 1 is Business/Financial Desk. Section 2 is Classified. Section 3 is Editorial Desk. Section 4 is Foreign Desk. Section 5 is Metropolitan Desk. Section 6 is National Desk. Section 7 is Obituary. Section 8 is Politics. Section 9 is Science Desk.
Alexa, ask National Federation to go to Section 5.
Reading in New York Times dated April 9th, 2020. In the Metropolitan Desk section of the New York Times.
Alexa, stop. Okay, so now when you want, you can go ahead and list all the sections that way, and then you can just ask for that particular section. Now, let's say that tomorrow the sections may be different, but they may be the same. So if it's a section that's usually going to be in the same spot, you can just say, read section such and such. Once you start at the section number, you can read. Like I could come tomorrow, and if it was a metropolitan section, I could go, once I opened up the New York Times, I could go ask it to go to section 5. So that's how I would jump previous and next section. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the favorites. Okay, now you can change your Alexa favorites on the device. You can also go ahead and call in on the phone. You can do it. And you also can do it on the website as well. What we're just going to cover here tonight is just on the device itself. So I'm going to say, Alexa, ask National Federation to list my favorites.
You can choose from the following favorites. Favorite 1 is Breaking News Search Results for Corona COVID-19 Virus. Favorite 2 is COVID-19 Pandemic Data. Favorite 3 is Boston Globe. Favorite 4 is CNET. Favorite 5 is Discover Online. Favorite 6 is New York Times. What favorite should I read?
Ask a National Federation to go to favorite 5.
Reading in Discover Online dated May 1st, 2020. And the articles from April 1st through 7th.
Alexa, stop. Okay, so it will read your favorite, whatever your 5 happen to be. Now, in everybody's favorites, we've identified the COVID-19 information for favorite 1 and favorite 2. Favorite 1 is going to be the search results. And what we did is we've gone through all the breaking news publications. Remember at the beginning of tonight, I said there were 34 of those. So what we're doing is we're searching for coronavirus and through COVID-19 through each one of the sections, and then we're going to display those articles. So that's, you can get that by going and saying just for favorite 1. Favorite 2, we've identified for everybody, and that's the Johns Hopkins data. And this is going to be the statistical information, that number of cases broken down by state, by country, and also giving you a world total as well. Okay, now how do I add a favorite? Okay, so let's go ahead and I'll start reading a publication, and then I'm going to tell her to go ahead and add it to my favorites. Alexa, Ask National Federation to read the Chicago Tribune.
Reading in Chicago Tribune dated April 9th, 2020. In the Arts and Entertainment section of the Chicago Tribune. There are 10 articles in this section.
Alexa, ask National Federation to add this to my favorites.
Chicago Tribune has been added to your Alexa favorites.
Life goes on.
Alexa, stop. Okay, so if we went back and listened to all the favorites now, it would be there. Now, by the same token, if I want to go ahead and there's something in my favorites and I want to remove it, let's say that I'll go ahead and Alexa, ask National Federation to read favorite 5.
Reading in CNET dated April 9th, 2020. In the Apple section of the CNET, there are 55 articles
Alexa,
in this section.
Ask National Federation to delete this from my favorites.
CNET has been removed from your Alexa favorites.
Occur April
Alexa,
9th.
stop. Okay, so that's how you would add and how you delete one. When you actually hear reading it, then you can add it or remove it by saying delete.
So Scott, just as a clarification for folks, just because you have it on your favorites in your phone or in your mobile app doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be on your Alexa favorites, right?
Correct. We have a separate set of favorites for everyone to access methods. So now the only thing it's going to be true for everybody, even if you don't have any favorites, is going to be the virus information in number 1, the search results, and the Johns Hopkins data for favorite number 2. That will be there for everybody because we put that in just to make it as an easy shortcut to get to it.
Excellent.
Okay, so that's covering the sections and the favorites. Let's go ahead and entertain some questions.
Okay, the next is, it just says iPhone. Go ahead.
This is Vinod from Boston. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so my question is about the list of commands for the Alexa. Are the list available on the website or online, or we can download somewhere?
Okay, so there are several commands that are listed on nfbnewsline.org. A more comprehensive list is in an email version and an attachment that we can send you. So if you send me an email, swhite@nfb.org, requesting that, then we'll return that back to you, that list.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Tyler Huber. Go ahead, Tyler.
Do you know if you have to be a subscriber to the NFB Newsline to get it, or is it free?
Well, you do have to be a subscriber, but it is no cost to you. So if you don't already subscribe, earlier I was mentioning a couple ways that you can apply. We have a self-application on nfbnewsline.org. Also, you can give us a call at the phone number that I've given several times, and I'll give that out before we close tonight. And just either request an application or just go ahead and fill out that one online, and we'll take care of that within probably a day or so.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Christian Bertling. Go ahead, Christian.
Mr. White, can you hear me?
Yes, we've got you. Go ahead.
So I had a couple questions. So my first one is it possible on the Amazon Alexa lady to do the equivalent of what you would do on the phone, where you press the number 2 in the main menu and then you press the number 6 to read all the info about the National Convention 2020?
When we put out information, when it comes to that time of year, when we put out that information, yes, you will be able to get that over the device as well. Now, there is no equivalent of pressing, telling it to press, any number combination. It's all going to be just asked for with your voice.
And also, if I was going to actually go to the NFB, the NFB convention just for like one day of it, just to kind of walk around the exhibit hall, do you need to pay for that or register for that or anything? Or could I just walk in and start touring the exhibit hall?
That particular information probably is best directed to give us a call during the day to 410-659-9314 and following the prompts there on the menu system, and someone can answer that question for you.
And also, Jessica, just to let you know, I'm also a Texan.
All right.
Next is phone number 404-565.
How you doing, Mr. White? This is Warren Crudup. My question is that device accessible to the Amazon Show 5 or 8? And if not, will it be in the future?
I have not tried it on one of those. It should work on that. Now, the skill is not available on every single implementation where you're going to see the Amazon skills. Some of the devices, like I have one device that although it has Alexa built into it, it will not run that particular skill. But I would think that since that's a direct Amazon product, that it would, although I haven't tried it.
All right, thank you. And one last question. The KFB on Amazon using the app, would that be accessible at some point?
I'm not sure I'm following you there. What would be accessible?
Since the KFB reader is on the NFB Newsline, would that be accessible through the Amazon app?
That will not be part of, it's a different type of technology. That the KNFB Reader Basic that you're referring to that's in NFB Newsline Mobile, that will be just a point-and-shoot technology using the camera, and it wouldn't be accessible on the Amazon devices, no.
Okay, thank you.
Next is 732-220.
Hi, I just want to clarify. Will this tutorial be on Newsline on the phone or on Alexa? Because there's so much here. I don't have email, so I just would like to be able to hear it again if possible.
There should be room enough, certainly enough room to put it on the phone. We just have to figure out where to put it. So we will certainly go ahead and investigate that.
Thank you very much. I'm enjoying this call. It's great.
Thank you.
All right. Next is 407-542.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was beginning to think I wasn't going to get in. What I wanted to clarify with you, Scott, my name is Shirley, and just had a real quick question. Where you talked about listing issues of a publication and then you can tell it what issue you want. I wanted to know, could you shortcut that? If I have like a newspaper and I know what issues are on, I know that like today's issue is number 1 and yesterday's is number 2 and Sunday's is number 3 or something, and I'm in that newspaper area, instead of asking it to list the issues first, can I just tell it what issue I want it to go to?
Yes. The important part would be that you would have to be reading the publication. So if it's already enunciating that and reading that to you, then yes, that should work.
I'm sorry. Can you say that again? The last bit, I didn't completely understand you.
Okay, so if you're reading a publication, like my example, the New York Times, then I should be able to ask it, or rather tell it to go to issue 2 if I wanted to read yesterday for some reason.
Okay, that's great. But I have to be in the publication itself first.
It has to know which one that you're looking for. So by reading it, its pointer is pointing at the New York Times, let's say.
I understand that. Well, this is super. I really appreciate it. This is probably like your third session of this, second or third at least, that I've been in, and at this time I think I'm taking some pretty good notes, and I really appreciate all the updates and everything. So thank you so much for all that you guys are doing.
Well, thank you for being here this evening.
Okay, next is 904-201.
Hey, Scott, this is Russ Davis in Florida. How are you today?
Pretty well.
So real quick, you kind of left me hanging there a little while back, but I just wanted to circle back to something you talked about a good while ago when you were talking about changing the speed of the reading voice. You can make her faster, much faster, extremely fast to the point you can't understand it. That I kind of chuckled when you did that. So how do you return the speed to the normal default voice? That's kind of what I wrote down in my note there.
Okay, we'll just.
But thanks again for everything.
You're
We're certainly glad to be here.
Okay, so as you ask it to go faster, you can do the converse and just ask it to go slower, or you could do a little faster or a little slower, or in the case if you wanted to read much faster or much slower. So if you accidentally get it too fast, then you could just say, A lady ask National Federation to read much slower.
Okay, so there's not a read default speed or normal speed command to just to set it back to the center.
Right. There is no default command for that right at the moment.
That's what I was, okay. All righty. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next is 501-246.
Yes, good evening. This is Teresa. And well, one of my questions did get answered. And I also want to say to Scott, I'm going to be emailing you tomorrow because I seem to have a brain freeze when it comes to remembering my access code and the security code. But I do have another question. Will the A lady be able to read your TV listings? I know I can do it on the phone, but the Victor Stream would not do that. And I'm wondering if the A lady will.
Eventually. That is part on the roadmap to add that. There's been probably the information about the actual weather forecast and the TV listings are probably the top two things that have been asked for to add. So we'll be looking.
Right, because I like to, especially on Sundays and weeknights. Sometimes I like to go for the TV listings, see what's on TV.
So we will be taking a look and adding that.
Okay, and I will lower my hand. Thank you.
All right, next is 517-339.
Good evening. I have a question about my newspaper, which we've constructed by adding various sections of multiple newspapers. Can Alexa read my newspaper with the Alexa reader?
Yes. So now once you have that put together, yes, it should be able to, and that would just be one of your publications. Now, for folks that maybe everybody doesn't know what we're speaking of with my newspaper is where you can go through and you can identify certain sections of the newspaper and sort of create my newspaper. So, for example, in mine, I can have like the business financial section of the New York Times, maybe the business section of the Boston Globe, and yet the news section of Chicago Tribune. So I can just pull those rather than me having to go to every one of those publications that I like and searching for that section. I can just have it all added in under my newspaper.
I've used the same configuration of my newspaper for 2 or 3 years. Do I need to recreate that with Alexa, or does she know where to find what I've already done?
That it should be able to access what you already have there.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Jen, let's go ahead and take one more, and then I'll continue on with my next section.
Okay, the next person is 317-709.
Yes, Scott, thank you very much for your presentation. This is Lee from Indiana. I wanted to know, you often ask a lady to stop. Now, when you ask a lady to pause, is there a difference between the two? Because I know when I do pause, I can leave it for a good period of time and come back to where I left off at. So could you kind of explain the differentiation of that?
Well, your mileage may vary on each one of those commands, but they're essentially supposed to work the same way. But I have gone and told it to stop, because when we were first designing the skill, I wanted to test out things like that. So I would go ahead and tell it to stop, and I would come back like the next day and just tell it to continue, and it would pick up again. So if you tell it to pause or stop, it should work both ways the exact same, but it may actually be different.
Well, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
And Scott, I'm just going to throw this out there because it's relevant to what you just talked about. But Jim Barber was asking if you could please repeat how to have Alexa read my newspaper.
Okay, so I believe you would just ask that as a publication. So it would just be Alexa, let me go ahead and turn this down here so it doesn't respond. Alexa, ask National Federation to read my newspaper. Okay, let's go ahead and continue on here now. want to talk about email. Now, if you have an email address on file with us, it gives you a lot of different capabilities that you can take advantage of. So one of the most common things that I use is if I'm reading articles and I want to keep them for my personal use later on, then I'll just have them via email. Now, of course, we have to have an email address on file for that to work. So if you have one, we're going to be sending you out emails every now and then about new features and going to be meetings such as this. You can have the articles emailed to you. Now, if you don't have your email address on file, you can simply go ahead and give us a call, and we can go ahead and add that to your account for you so you too can take advantage of this. Alexa, ask National Federation to read the New York Times.
Reading in New York Times dated April 9th, 2020. In the business/financial desk section of the New York Times, there are 16 articles in this section. Article 1. A lone bright spot emerges in Disney's battered emperor.
Okay, so I like that article and I want an email copy of it. So here's how I get it.
It's up
Alexa,
streaming.
Ask National Federation to email me this article.
You should receive your email for this article shortly at swite@nfb.org.
But the company on Wednesday.
So it's sending it to my inbox now, and then I can go ahead and it will just pick up starting reading again. Now, just like there is on the phone, I can go ahead and I could do the same thing. I could say, "A lady, ask National Federation to email me this section," if I wanted the entire section. If I wanted the entire publication for some reason, I could just say, "A lady, ask National Federation to email me this publication." Another way I can say for email me that article is I can say just send this article. I could do that as well. Now, earlier we talked about there is the Alexa command sheet that we have, and you can get that by calling us again at 866-504-7300. That's 866-504-7300. You can also send me an email to my email address. It's swhite@nfb.org. swhite@nfb.org. Let's go ahead and open the floor to questions again.
Mr. White,
Yes.
we had John Ryan sent us a little chat, and said, please let everybody know that this is really great for blind individuals who are not only blind, but have low vision as well, and like macular degeneration, like older folks as well. But it's really good.
Yes, we have a number of people using NFB Newsline. We have people that are totally blind, people that have low vision, and like I was mentioning, people that have print disabilities that are unable to turn printed pages for themselves or hold the newspaper or magazine.
Naomi, you got a question? Go ahead.
Yes. Hi, Scott. I was wondering, I came in just a few minutes late. So where do I put in my password?
Okay, so what you would do there is you would go where you have to first enable the skill, and you basically would say, "A lady, open National Federation," and then it's going to tell you that you have to log in, that it doesn't recognize the device.
Okay.
Then you would say, "A lady, ask National Federation to log in," and then it's going to walk you through the steps of putting your identification code in.
And when you say enabling, you mean on the Alexa, or do I need to enable it through the skills on my iPhone?
No, you could say it right on the device. I'm just saying "A lady" because I didn't want to trigger.
No, I understand.
Doing something, but yes, you can do it right on the device.
Okay, and the other question I had is, what are the favorites that you have on the Alexa?
Well, the favorites are going to be whatever favorite publications that you like.
Oh, they are. See, I thought you said it didn't. It didn't. My understanding was that it didn't transfer your favorites over from what another.
That is correct.
Do you have to add them immediately from here? Do I need to just add them one at a time?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You can do it in a number of different ways. Say that you're using the telephone and that's faster for you just to punch in the buttons to add them. That you can do it that way.
I have them on my phone too.
Okay. So if you want to do that, but on the phone now, you can set up your Alexa favorites. that are only exclusive to Alexa, but you could set up your Alexa favorites. The way that you start that process is going into the subscriber control panel and following prompts. Off the main menu, you press 0.
Yeah, I know that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Scott, we have a question in the chat, and I don't quite understand this question, but maybe you will, or maybe the person can give us some clarification. The question says, can Alexa read PDF files that are in a publication, or are there any recommendations?
No, it would only be able to read whatever content that we put on NFB Newsline. There's no way that I'm aware of that can actually read PDF files that way. But that's not to say that there isn't. I'm just not aware of one.
Okay, I have 412440.
This is Marty Matthews from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I just wondered if you were reading a long list of things like options and you decided you wanted a certain option, but you couldn't remember which one you wanted. Can you say repeat last command or repeat anything?
What you would do is just issue the command again, and it would start reading from the beginning again. Now, if that does bring up a point, so I let it play a little bit longer this evening, but if you wanted to read, like if it's reading a list of, in Texas, they have a bunch of papers. So let's say that the paper that I want is whatever paper number 10 is, then I can just get it to go ahead and read option number 10. I don't have to wait for it to read all 20 of those. So I can interrupt.
Oh, yeah, but I just meant if you were reading down the list, say you got down to number 15, and then you thought of something you wanted to go to in the list, but you didn't know, you forgot which one. Say you wanted to go to 7, but you couldn't remember that. Would you just have to start over and read the list?
Right, correct. And then if you have the name of the publication, then you can go ahead and just could say, to read you the name of the publication, you wouldn't necessarily have to do it and say option number 7. So if it said, like from my Texas example, if it were to say 7 is Houston Chronicle, for example, then you could go ahead and just say, a lady asked National Federation to read the Houston Chronicle, rather than having to go back and do the 7, if you remembered which one the publication was.
Oh, okay. I'm sure I'd figure it out, but I just wondered. I've played with this a little bit, and it is, it is good because I have an Alexa Echo. Okay, well, thanks a lot. Then this is a very, very good session here tonight.
And be sure, if you try it again and you need some assistance, don't hesitate to call us. That's what we're here for.
Okay, I will do that.
Thank
you so much.
Okay, next is 706-329.
Yes, this is Ken Roberts again. I just had another question. How do you tell Alexa to read like the NFB Newsline news, like, all the announcements and stuff? How do you tell it to do that? Where, when you have the option?
That is part of it that is not directly available right at the moment.
Next person is 417-667.
Yes. Can you do TV listings over on the A-Lady?
Not at this time. That is a feature that has been highly requested, so we'll be taking a look at that, but you cannot do that right at the moment.
Use it over the phone, so I don't need to, so I'll remember not to ask her to do that. All right, thanks.
And Scott, this is a short one, but somebody was just asking what the name of the voice that you were using earlier was.
The voice that you heard tonight on the Alexa device was Eloquence.
Okay, we have Robin's iPad.
Okay, so I was wondering also about TV listings, but you just answered that. I'm kind of concerned with what's audio described and what isn't.
Right. Once we add the TV listings, that will be included. Right now on the telephone, it does tell you if the program is audio described.
On the telephone?
On the telephone, once you call into NFB Newsline, using the
okay.
telephone access method, it will tell you that.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next is Jesse's iPad.
Oh, hello. I have two questions. I'm new to having the A lady. I have two Echo Dots, and right now I'm using both of them in my home in Las Vegas, but I'm going to be traveling to my home in Utah. If I unplug the one that I set up for the Newsline and take it to Utah, will it remember the information that I set up?
Yes, it will remember that when you go ahead and activate it, by plugging in again, it will remember what skills you had enabled on that device.
Okay, thank you. And I should have used the word skills. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next is 651-336. Go ahead.
I was just wondering if you could do a 99 in continuous reading in your paper.
Now, what will happen here, I didn't give it the chance to go past that, but yes, it automatically, the 99, what we're referring to here, for people that may not use the telephone access method, is the 99. Once you're reading, it tells you the sections that will put you in what's called continuous read mode. Now, the way the Amazon device is designed, it's designed to go ahead and stream one after the other. So basically, the 99 or the continuous read mode is what it's in by default. So what will happen is it will go ahead and start reading the first section, first article, second article, third article, and then after, when it gets to the end of that section, it's just going to roll over to the next section until you give it a command.
And you guys are doing a real good job. I have mine hooked up. I have an Alexa app and an Alexa show, and they both work, and they work great. Thank you very much for them.
Thank you.
All right. Next is Paul Basler.
Hi. Yes. I was having basically multiple questions with the same thing. So are the commands only in English, or is there multi-language support, like for Spanish and German?
At this time, it's just set up for English.
Okay. All right. And so if I go to a different article in a different language, Amazon will directly read me it to its natural language, or will it automatically default to English?
Well, there's two different things. When we have the A lady speaking in her voice, that's going to be one thing. And then when it's reading the article, it's actually getting streamed from our servers. So it should detect that it's an article that we have that's in Spanish. It should detect that it's in Spanish and use the Spanish speech engine to read that article.
All right. Thank you.
Next is 216-702.
Hi, Annette Anderson from Ohio. I noticed that when reading Newsline articles on Alexa as opposed to the phone, there are long pauses between paragraphs. Is there something that can be done about that, or is that just part of the system?
We've had problems with that in the past. I haven't heard of that really occurring here recently. It can depend a lot on the traffic, on the internet traffic at that time, because what we're doing is we're sending you the blocks of data in paragraphs. So it could be the internet traffic. What I would be interested to know is if you could try it at different times of the day and night and see if you really had the same condition. And then if it continues to do that for you, you can go ahead and give us a call, and we'll see if there's any hints or anything that we can give you that can help remedy that.
Thank you.
Next is 757-291.
Hi, this is Jackie, and I actually attempted to not raise my hand and it didn't work, so my question has been answered. But thank you very much, Scott, for this conference. It's been very helpful.
Thank you.
Next is 917-272.
Hi, good evening. This is Eder Herrera from New York again. Just want to know, why not using the abbreviation of the KNFB rather than the full phrase?
Yes, I'm here. Jen and Jessica, I couldn't hear the question completely. Can you rephrase?
What I said is, rather than using the full phrase, why not the abbreviation?
Why not use the abbreviation? But I'm not sure quite what you're wanting to, the abbreviation
of the command rather than the National Federation.
Oh, okay. So
just use the abbreviation.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what we did is the very first thing that we tried yes, that would make more sense to do that. So our brand would be better off if we could just use NFB Newsline. So if you could say, ask NFB Newsline. Now, if you've had a device for a while, you know that it was picking up on the word NFB as 3 individual words. So it gave us really unpredictable results. It would read things like the flash briefing based on just hearing the word news. It would probably only give you about a 60% accuracy, and I thought that was just wasn't going to be feasible, and would really cause a lot of subscriber frustration. So we tried a number of combinations of different things, and the best thing we could come up with is 2 longer words, and National Federation had the best ring to it, and also it was the one that performed the best.
And my other question, I also have a Fire Stick. Can this work on the Fire Stick as well?
No, not unless that's some Alexa type interface that I'm not aware of on that.
I'm sorry. The reason that I do ask is because with the remote enable, you are able to summon Alexa, and you're basically able to tell it the same command as if you do on the Alexa device.
Yes,
Alexa stuff.
Right. You can use some of the skills, but not all the skills are available in that manner. So you can go ahead and give it a try and see if it works. Sometimes things will let you log in, but really won't give you content. So my best advice there is just go ahead and give it a try and see if it works.
Okay, and thank you. Your information that you given today has been very helpful for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is 848-219.
Yes, hi. My question is, how do you add favorites? How do you add publications to your favorites, not articles, just the publication?
Okay, so what we talked about earlier was the ability to go ahead and do just that. So what you would do is you would ask it to read, like for example, what I would say is a lady asked National Federation to read the New York Times. Now, once it's reading that the publication, you can tell it to go ahead and add this to my favorites. So you would say, a lady asked National Federation to add this to my favorites.
But not the particular article, just the publication, just the paper.
That would add the publication to the favorites, yes. There is no way to add this to articles to your favorites because the articles are going to change from day to day, but the publication will remain the same.
Yes, correct. Thank you.
Thank you
much.
Next is Joseph's iPhone.
Appreciate you all doing this presentation. One thing I wanted to just mention, a quick thing that happened to me, and I got it resolved, but it might happen to somebody else too, and I apologize if you've already mentioned this. But one thing, I tried to get the skill to work, and I asked it to read a specific publication, and it just sat there, and I didn't hear anything. And it turns out that I had to change the speech on the phone to eloquence because I was using the higher quality speech from, what's it called? I can't think of it. It's Paul. It uses Paul and the other one. My mind just went blank. But anyway, if you didn't mention that, just, I just thought about that as if anyone has their speech set to the higher quality speech.
What we did, yes, that when it
they might have trouble.
Right. When it was working, when it was not working, it would go ahead and act like it was streaming the publication, but you wouldn't hear any output. So what we did was we went ahead and changed everybody temporarily over to eloquence. So everybody should get some audio output now.
Oh, because it didn't change me to eloquence. I had to go in and manually do it for some reason. So if that happens to anyone, I guess you could say that's what happened. But thank you very much.
You're welcome. It has been a recent change that has been put into place. So it may have been before the time that we actually put the change in. But if anyone's having problems with that, and they can try switching it over to the eloquence, and if they're still not getting the output, then they can go ahead and give us a call, and we can certainly help them out with that.
So Scott, we had a couple comments. One was that they are able to use it on the Fire Stick 4K, and the other one was that they're able to use it on the Echo Show 5. So I know there was a question earlier about an Echo Show. I don't know if it's the same Echo Show, but we have had some folks to have success with those two pieces.
Okay, very good.
Next, we have John Gunn.
Hello, and thanks for getting me on a couple of things here. Scott, you're doing a great job on this. You guys really are. It's wonderful. Couple things here. Number one, when you guys mentioned stop or pause, Scott, you kind of found this out yourself when you said pause or stop, and it did pick up at the beginning of the paper again. And but if you were to say pause, then if you were to say resume, then it would have worked, I think. I haven't tried that yet, but I think it would have worked. Also, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, when you have an article emailed to yourself, because this is private content for you and you only, I don't think legally you're able to forward those articles to anyone else, if I'm not mistaken. And one final thing, I haven't done this on Newsline, NFBNewsline.org, but I don't have an account set up unless I use my credentials for the A-ladies. Do I use my credentials for that? I was thinking about setting it up for that. Just see if that would work. But anyway, that's all I've got. And thanks. You're doing a good job.
Okay, thank you. Now, just to reiterate that point, yes, the articles that you have emailed to yourself are for your personal use. So that would be against the copyright law to send those to people that are not eligible for NFB Newsline. Now, if you happen to be using the NFB Newsline mobile app, and you're actually looking at the articles in the breaking news section, you'll see share buttons down at the bottom. Those are for Facebook and Twitter. Then you can do that. But the other articles that you get emailed to yourself, no, you cannot do that.
Next is Stephanie Watts.
Hi, Scott. Thank you so much. Your information is just excellent. My question is, you mentioned a couple times that there's information that is not included here in the commands that you've shared with us, that you guys have a more comprehensive list. And I'm just wondering, without you going into a deep dive and a lot of detail, can you just give some examples of other stuff that's included?
Okay, so the documentation will have maybe some other ways that you can actually accomplish the same task. Remember, I was saying, like, if you wanted to email yourself an article, you could say, email me this article, or you could say, send me this article. So we have some information like that. Where you're really going to notice the discrepancy is we don't have a full command set on the website. But when you get it in the documentation, that's the one that's more comprehensive.
Okay. Well, this is awesome. And again, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed, and I've taken, I think, some pretty good notes, but I'm looking forward to the comprehensive command set, and I'll email you for that later. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Next is 717-576.
Yes, my question is when you set it to read faster or slower, then you get off and let's say you come back tomorrow. Does it remember that speed or you have to set it every time?
No, that's the cool thing about it. It will remember the speed that you left it at. So next time that if I were to go ahead and tell it to read much faster here, and then I were to stop it, then when I come back to it, even minutes or days later, it's going to remember the actual speed.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next is 501-246.
Yes, this is Teresa again, and there was a question I just remembered. Will there be a spell feature where you can, find out how a word is spelled? Let's say a name of somebody's name, you're not sure of the spelling. Then you could check it like on the phone. Will there be that kind of feature on her?
I don't think we'll be able to really implement that in the way that it's structured right now. Basically because we don't know what pointer, we don't have a mechanism to go by word. So the only thing I could suggest there is the word that you hear, that you would ask the device, and this is outside of NFB Newsline, outside of the skill, but you can just ask the device how you spell whatever the word of interest is, and then she will spell that word.
Okay.
Next is Gerard Landry.
Hi. I managed to access the presidential release, but how do I access it? The NFB national channel?
The actual national channel is not accessible through using the Amazon device right at the moment.
Okay, because I know I asked it to play the NFB presidential release, but is that all you can play right now?
At this moment, yes.
Okay. Thank you. You're doing a good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is 678-388.
Hey, finally, it's Ricardo again. The question that I had, I've been trying to call for the past couple of days. I've been trying to call the customer service center, and no one seems to answer because I knew about this. I got the email about the Alexa being on or the Newsline being on Alexa, and I wanted the comprehensive list emailed to me, so I tried to. The email instructed me to call the center or call the customer service center if you wanted the list, but I've been trying to call for the past few days and no one's there. Is there a way that you could email me the comprehensive list? My email is I already have an account scheduled with, or I already have an email address on file with Newsline.
Right. If you could go ahead and just drop me an email to swhite@nfb.org, we'll simply be able to go ahead and send that out to you tomorrow. Now we are working remotely, so the phone number is being transferred over to someone, but it's just to one phone line right at the moment. So if you were to call and you don't get someone to pick up right then, just go ahead and leave a message and someone will get back with you on that. But
Okay.
everybody else is called as well.
But you said but you said the reason why I'm getting the error message is due to the virus, correct?
The error message?
When you call, it says we're experiencing high call volume.
Okay, so yes, that is the recording that's on the phone. So if you just leave a message after that, just like any voicemail, when you leave a message after that, someone will return that to you.
Yes, I understand. But my question is, I get that recording due to the coronavirus, correct? That's why you're working. That's why I'm getting that.
Right, we are working remotely because of that reason. Yes, like a lot of places.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. Perfect. That's what I wanted to know. And I wanted to also concur with my colleagues here. Especially for me, this is fantastic. You boys are doing a great job. Fantastic, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Ilra Gulka.
So this is Alira from New Jersey, and I had a question. So ideally, I would do a Google search for romance novels and get like a New York Times op-ed article or some article from the New York Times. So would I be able to search by subject, like A Lady Ask National Federation for articles on romance novels or articles on any subject of my choosing?
There is no particular global search option now available using Amazon device. It's only available for persons using the telephone access method and also for the iPhone, iPad app.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a question in the chat, Scott, that says, can I set the Echo device through nfbnewsline.org?
Well, there's really no need to do that. Everything can be done, directly with your voice, just enabling the skill and then going through and actually logging in and using your credentials for your identification code and your security code. And what you can do, the only thing that you can do from online, basically, it's not nfbnewsline.org, it's nfbnewslineonline.org. You can set your Alexa favorites off that website if you wish. So, and you would, once you log in, then you would go to manage favorites, and one of the options there would be Alexa favorites. So we're coming up to the end of our presentation tonight. We have about another 7 or 8 minutes. How many hands do we have raised, Jen, approximately?
About 12 or 15, something like that.
Okay, let's go ahead and see what we can get through.
Okay. Dan Alvarez, go ahead, sir.
I'm a little bit confused about the two favorites that you've already established. My favorite, I think it's favorite 1 and favorite 2. So can you tell me what's the Alexa command that I can have National Federation read those 2 favorites?
Right. Okay. So the favorite number 1 that we set up for everybody, and we just made these 1 and 2. These are the only 2 favorites that we've added. We've never done this before, but we wanted to make it easy for people to be able to get to the virus information if they wanted it. So what you would do is you'd say, "A lady, ask National Federation to read favorite 1," and that would start reading the search results. If you wanted the detailed statistical data, you would want to say, "A lady, ask National Federation to read favorite 2." And then that would read the corresponding articles that are in that publication.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next is call-in user 6.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I just wanted to clarify that in reference to the Echo Show 5, it was mentioned earlier, and also the lady that said something about moving her echoes from one location to another. The only thing that I would highly suggest that she do with that is she might want to check the Wi-Fi connections and make sure she's connected to Wi-Fi, but it remembers everything. And the one question I have is in reference to emailing. I know I fully understand that you can't share the emails that you email to yourself, but my prime question is, I have 2 email accounts. One account I was able to link and set up with my Amazon Echo that reads the emails to me. My other account is not compatible to do that. Is there any problem with my forwarding the emails from that account to my other one so that it can read them to me?
You would have 2 choices there. You could simply go ahead and do that, because that's just forwarding from yourself to yourself, so that's fine. It's just sharing it with other individuals. And if you ever wanted us to switch, to where you would get those type of emails to go to the one that your Amazon device will read, you just call us up and give us the new address, and we can input that for you.
Yeah, I already did that. I did that quite a long time ago because my Echo does read the emails, although I can't respond through her. She doesn't reply or respond to them. But that's what I was wondering, because I don't want to lose those articles, because it's what I'm trying to do, get everything out of there so that I can shut that account off.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Next is 407-542.
Yes, you intrigued me a little earlier when you talked about the fact that you could set up your favorites on this, on the A device from your touch-tone phone, and you started to tell about how that could be done, but then you went to something else, and I would be curious to know how I could do it actually from my phone.
Okay, so once you're logged in on the main menu, you want to press 0 for subscriber control panel, and then you want to follow the prompts. So if memory serves, I don't use it that often, that option, but what you would do, I believe, is press number 9 once you're on the subscriber control panel to go to the next page, and then it's going to say your online favorites, and then follow the prompts, and the one that will say for the Alexa or Amazon, then that's the way.
Oh, it actually does give you that as an option?
Yes. Yes, once you get to
wonderful.
the proper place, yes.
Okay. All right, that's great. Well, I'm really intrigued by that. I will have to try it. And thanks again for everything. And I have to tell you, I know it's not on topic exactly, but getting the TV listings emailed to me every night. I mean, I've been doing that for a long time, and that is so extremely helpful. And, you know, for that person that was looking for audio description, it's the best possible place to find out which shows are audio described and everything. So I just really want to thank you very much for that particular part of the service.
Well, what we're talking about here, for everyone listening, is basically once you are on the phone and you've identified your TV favorites, if you have an email address on file with us, you can indicate that you want those favorites sent to you every night at midnight. And that's going to show you what's coming on that channel for the entire day. And that will be based, it's going to give you the synopsis of the program, all the information, including, as we mentioned, the programs that are audio described as well. If that's of interest to anyone, give us a call and we can walk you through the details of how to get that done.
And Scott, I know there are a lot of hands, so I have a question from the chat when you want it, but I'll wait until you're ready for that one.
Go ahead.
So the question is that the volume of the article, this is from Jim Barber again, the volume of the article is lower on Newsline than Alexa's volume, and he's wondering if you can control the Newsline volume independently from the Alexa volume.
There generally, I haven't seen where there's that much discrepancy. I would say that probably that's a situation where we want to give us a call and then we can listen to it with you and see if there's anything that we can do to remedy that.
Next is iPhone.
This is Megan from Virginia again. I just wanted to say y'all doing a good job on this tonight. And you do have my email on file because I'm an NFB subscriber. And if you could email me whenever you're doing these meetings like this, because I love it, like this, you know, the Zoom app and all that. So I'd love to be in more meetings and stuff like that.
Now you should get, if you're an NFB Newsline subscriber and we have your email address, you should get the email about the events that we're having for NFB Newsline. There are other NFB meetings and so forth going on across the country, and those usually will come out on our email list. If you want to go ahead and drop me an email to swhite@nfb.org, I'll send you the details of how you subscribe to these other email lists.
Okay, thank you so much.
What I was going to say is if she wants to send me an email, I actually can add her to the virtual events group, NFB virtual events group.
Well, there you go. You're talking to the lady. You can do it right away. So,
okay. What's your email?
jwhite@nfb.org.
jwhite@nfb.org. So it's all like lowercase?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I can email you shortly.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next is iPhone Eureka.
Hey, Scott, what I wanted to know was, now I'm on Newsline, but I have, friends that might not be on there. If they want to subscribe now, what did they do? Do they wait until all of this stuff is over with, or can they subscribe now?
oh no, we're still fully open and processing applications. So what I'd encourage people to do is if they want to go ahead and subscribe, go ahead and they can do it through our website, nfbnewsline.org. There's a self-application on there. If they want to give us a call, 866-504-7300, they can do that as well.
Okay, then that's what I want to know, and I really appreciate this too, because I learned a lot of stuff because I just got a dot, and I would love to hear my Newsline on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so it's a few minutes after 10 here, so let's go ahead. I know that there's several hands still raised there, so let's go ahead and go to
We have about 8 more
15.
people.
Right, let's go to about 10:15 or so.
Okay. So next is 706-628.
Yes, this is Ken Ramos again. Sorry, that question, my question already got answered. And I also want to report *9 does not lower your hand. It just says it'll inform the speaker that you're being that you want to speak. Because the question, yeah, there is a question. I just realized. How do you make it play the presidential release? I know you can't play the national channel, but how do you make it play the presidential release for the NFB?
Well, you can go ahead and just ask the Amazon device to play the presidential release, and that's not coming directly from NFB Newsline. That's coming from an NFB server directly.
Oh, okay.
Right. So you can just ask the device to play the National Federation of the Blind presidential release.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Next is Constance.
Hello. I wanted to know if the situation with the Kindle Fire device would be the same as the Fire Stick, or since that's an independent device, whether or not, because I know Alexa's on there. So do I just follow the procedures outlined in the webinar here?
Yes, I think that, and I have tried that on that, but it has been some time ago. So I can't, they do software updates, so I can't think any reason why they take it away, but I have not tried it recently, but that should work. Yes, it has for me.
Thank you for all of your services on the Newsline. They're extremely valuable to me and others. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is iPhone.
Hi, this is Sarah again in Texas. I was trying to type this in the chat box, but couldn't do it. But instead, I can just imagine, Scott, you're going to have a zillion emails asking for the documentation. What I thought is the email that was sent out to everyone that's already enrolled under NFB Newsline on the mass email. Could you merely attach the documentation and send that out to individuals and then make the exception to the ones that don't have email?
That is an idea, but some people would probably not necessarily be using that access method, and it would be thousands and thousands of emails that we would send out. So, I don't think that would be viable to do it that way. And generally, we use doesn't allow for attachments in a manner directly from the database that we use for NFB Newsline.
Okay, well, I'm sitting and typing as we speak. Thank you again. This is very appreciative. And I might add, I don't know, maybe I've missed it, but if you guys ever do a conference call on how to use Zoom, and especially keep hearing the voiceover or having people exit and enter the room, I can't figure out how to mute that out because it causes, you not to hear all of the content. But
Are
that
you
would be
on
great.
the computer or iPhone?
On the iPhone.
Okay, so on the
dialed
iPhone, if you have voiceover on, you can either turn voiceover off, or you can 3-finger double tap on the screen, which will turn speech off. And then when you need it again, you can 3-finger double tap on the screen to turn speech back on.
That's what I would.
Okay, because voiceover still, I could hear, so I need to do the 3-finger. I'll try it. Thank you.
No problem. And if somebody is on a computer, it's Control-Shift-S. But is it Control-Shift-S, Kev, or Control-Alt-S? It's either Control-Shift-S or Control-Alt-S, but you have to be in the correct menu or that will direct you to something else. So there is a book that's free by Jonathan Mosier that tells Mosen, sorry, not Mosier, Jonathan Mosen, and it's all about how to use Zoom. So it's a free book for the next couple months.
So the next person we have is 301-338.
Hi, folks. I had a question for you real quick. In reading a publication, let's say you know the specific name of the section you want to access. Can you just access it by name, or do you have to get the list?
You would have to go ahead and first go to the publication and then be able to, you could get it to read you a section list of the sections, and then it would enumerate each one of the sections, like what I said earlier. Once I had the New York Times reading, and then I could say, a lady asked National Federation to list sections, and that would list them out, and then you could select the one that you wanted based on that.
Aha, okay. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Next is 702-268.
Hi, how you doing? Hey, I just want to know two things really quick. I wanted to know to go back to repeat a sentence, and then also to do a search, like if you need something spelled out.
Okay, as far as the spell command, there is no way to do that on the Amazon device. That would be just available on some of the other access methods that we have. And there's no way to individually search for a particular phrase.
Okay, and you cut out when you were giving that other phone number out, not the 504 one with the 619 or 319.
Okay. What that was the main NFB number I think you're speaking of. That was 410-659-9314.
Okay, that's for the other office?
That's for the headquarters of the National Federation of the Blind.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thanks. Nice meeting you again.
Next is 715-842.
Yes, I would like to know why the volume goes louder when I ask the Alexa to push star. That's one of my questions. And
Okay.
then another one is, how do I change from reading one newspaper to the other one?
Okay, the star command, you shouldn't have to use anything like that on the Amazon device itself. Now, to go from publication to publication, you just ask for it. So, for example, if it's reading the New York Times and I want to read the Chicago Tribune, I would just say, ask National Federation to read Chicago Tribune.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Nolan, go right ahead.
Is there any way I could go in and change my 4-digit security code? Because I have the last 4 digits of my home phone number, which is not working, and I need to change that.
Well, the code will continue to work, but so usually we don't change the security codes. The one that you had previously will continue to work.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr.
Okay,
Scott.
thank you. Thank you.
You have been very helpful tonight, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have one more question now.
One more. Okay.
It's 517-339.
Good evening. I just want to say this has been very, very helpful, and ask if you have already done something like this to help us read Newsline on the Victor stream.
We have, but it has been some time ago. So I think it's probably time to look at doing something like that again. So I would go
It
ahead.
would be fun to revive some of those calls.
Just to stay tuned to your email, and we'll probably be doing one here in the not too distant future now. I'm not sure if it'll be next week, but we'll be doing one soon.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I want to conclude this evening again by thanking everybody for taking the time to come to our meeting this evening. I want to give you the contact information. And one point I want to make before that is, a lot of people are expressed how important, and it's certainly important to me, and I don't know what I'd do without NFB Newsline. So if you have an individual story that you'd like to share with us, how it's benefited you in your daily life, this is very important, very beneficial to us, because we use these types of stories when we're talking to people that are sponsoring NFB Newsline in a variety of different ways. So if you want to jot down some of your thoughts and send them to me at swhite@nfb.org, it would certainly be appreciated. That's my email address, swhite@nfb.org. Phone number again is 866-504-7300. That's 866-504-7300. And also our website, nfbnewsline.org. nfbnewsline.org. And I want to say thank you to Jessica, and thank you for operating the computer and muting and unmuting Jen. And thank you again for everybody for attending this evening. Have a good evening.
Thank you. This was great.
Have a good night, you guys.
Good night, everybody.
Connect with us. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at NFB_voice. And like us on Facebook by searching for National Federation of the Blind. Visit our website at nfb.org or call us at 410-659-9314.